Hello. By the end of this video, I want you to be able to say that I know how to find the value of a ratio as a decimal. Okay, so here's the ratio 4 to 5. Well, this is really the fraction 4 over 5, right? It's the ratio written as a fraction. And when you read this, this says 4 divided by 5. Okay, so you read this from top to bottom. Okay, so we're going to do 4 divided by 5. But when you set up long division, if I wanted to do 4 divided by 5, I'm going to put the 4 inside that long division symbol and the 5 on the outside. Okay, sometimes you'll see this trick where we turn this fraction bar into a long division symbol and then we drop the 4 inside. Okay, just as a way of remembering. Okay, so 4 divided by 5, when you do long division, it kind of looks a little backwards, the way we set it up. All right, so now to divide. Well, 5 doesn't go into 4, so I'm going to add a decimal and at least 1 0. Okay, now it's very important how we line these up. So 5 goes into 4 0 times. Okay, I'm going to put a 0 over the 4, and I'm going to bring that decimal point straight up. Now I'm going to look, does 5 go into 40? Well, 5 does go into 40. 5 goes into 40 8 times. So I'm going to put the 8 on top of the 40, right, on top of that 0. And then I'm going to multiply 8 times 5. 8 times 5 is 40. I'll subtract those two values. And I have a remainder of 0. Okay, I have a remainder of 0, so I'm finished with this problem. Okay, so 4 fifths, the value of that ratio is 0.8. 4 divided by 5 is equal to 0.8. Okay, so 1 divided by 4. When I set up my long division, it's going to be 1 divided by 4. Again, the way to remember that, make that fraction a long division sign and drop the 1 inside. 4 does not go into 1, so I'm going to add a decimal point and a 0. 4 goes into 1 0 times, we said. Don't forget to put that 0. Bring up my decimal point. Now I'm dividing 4 into 10 instead. Well, 4 goes into 10 2 times because 2 times 4 is 8. So 10 minus 8 is 2. Now I still have a remainder. Okay, so I'm going to have to add an extra 0 to my problem so that I can bring down that 0. Okay, because I can divide 4 into 20. 4 goes into 20 5 times because 5 times 4 is 20. And when I subtract these last values, I have 0. So I'm finished. Okay, so 1/4 that ratio, the value as a decimal would be 0.25. Okay, the ratio 3 to 8. Okay, the way you read this, it's 3 divided by 8. For long division, you're going to drop that 3 inside the long division symbol. Okay, so 3 divided by 8. 8 doesn't go into 3. So I need a decimal point and a 0. 8 doesn't go into 3, so I'm going to put a 0 to hold that place value. Bring up my decimal. 8 goes into 30. Okay, you have to know your 8 times tables. 8 goes into 30 3 times. because 3 times 8 is 24. 30 minus 24 is 6. Okay, now if you ever get a number down here where this 6 is, that's bigger than your original divisor, okay, then you did something wrong. Okay, so you have to go back and try the division again. Okay, I have a remainder, so I'm going to have to add a 0 to my original problem and bring that 0 down. Okay, so now I'm thinking 8 goes into 60. I think I'm going to need a little bit more space for this one. Eight goes into 60 7 times, because 7 times 8 is 56. If I subtract 60 minus 56, I still have a remainder, so I need another 0. 8 goes into 40 now 5 times, because 5 times 8 is 40. I'm done because I do not have a remainder anymore. So the value of 3 over 8, 3 divided by 8 as a decimal, is 0.375. Okay, so see if you can do this next one. 1 divided by 8, what is that value as a decimal? Okay, hopefully you were able to get that 1 divided by 8 is equal to 0.125. Please check your work if you didn't get that. Okay, 8 divided by 100. And so that 8 is the one that's going to be dropped inside that long division symbol. And so 8 divided by 100. 100 definitely does not go into 8. I need a decimal point and at least 1 0. Okay. 100 doesn't go into 8. Put a 0 there, bring up this decimal. 100 does not go into 80 either. 100 is bigger than 80. So it goes into 80 0 times. So where that 80 ends, I'm going to put a 0. So I have to keep going. 100 does go into 800. 100 goes into 800 8 times, because 8 times 100 is 800. 800 minus 800 is 0. So I'm finished. 8 divided by 100 is the same as 0.08. Okay, and check out how these are related. On the left, this is 8 hundredths. Right? 8 over 100, I would say 8 hundredths. Well, on the right, this is my tenths place. This is my hundredths place. Okay, so that is also 8 hundredths. So you would say those fractions, that fraction and that decimal, you would say it the same way. Okay, let's go through 3 more together before you guys try it. Okay, so 4 divided by 125. 4 divided by 125. 125 does not go into 4. Goes into 4 0 times. Bring up my decimal. 125 does not go into 40 either. Goes into 40 0 times. Okay, so where that 40 ends, on top I'm going to put a 0. 125 does go into 400. Okay, so I'm going to think on the side. I'm going to count by 125s. It's going to go in 3 times. 125 times 3 is 375. Subtract these two, and I get 25. Still have a remainder, so I need a 0, and I need to bring down that 0. 125 goes into 250 2 times, because 2 times 125 is 250. No remainder, so I'm finished. 4 divided by 125 equals 0.032. Okay, this one is very interesting. 1 divided by 3. 1 divided by 3. 3 doesn't go into 1, so I need a decimal and a 0. Bring up my decimal. We said 3 goes into 1 0 times, but 3 goes into 10 3 times. Because 3 times 3 is 9. 10 minus 9 is 1. Okay? Whenever you have a remainder, you need to add a 0 and bring that 0 down. 3 goes into 10 3 times, because 3 times 3 is 9. Okay, I have a remainder. I need another 0. Okay, 3 goes into 10. Let's just start sounding familiar. Okay, in the beginning we did 3 into 10. At this step we did 3 into 10. And here again we're doing 3 into 10. 3 goes into 10 3 times, because 3 times 3 is 9. I still have a remainder. Well, what's going to happen if I keep dividing 3 into 10? I'm going to keep getting 3's. All right, so these 3's go on forever and ever. I'll go to my end of my screen. There is a way to write that. Okay, when you have a number that repeats in your decimal, if you put a bar on top of it, it will tell you that that 3 goes on forever. Okay, so 1 divided by 3 as a decimal, it's 0.3 repeating. Okay, that symbol on top, that's your repeating symbol. Okay, so it means those 3's will continue on and on forever. Okay, let's look at one more before you guys try some out. So 7 divided by 5. 7's going to go inside that long division symbol, but you still read it 7 divided by 5. Hey, this time 5 does go into 7. 5 goes into 7 once, because 1 times 5 is 5. But when I subtract these, I have a remainder. Okay, so that's why I have to add a decimal point. Don't forget your decimal on top, and a 0. 5 goes into 20 4 times, because 4 times 5 is 20, and then I'm finished. Okay, so 7 over 5, that ratio, the value of that is 1.4. Okay, for this first one, hopefully you're able to get 0.6. 1 divided by 25. Okay, your answer there should be 0.04. Nine divided by 4. 2.25. And the last one, 2 divided by 3. This is one of those fun ones. Okay, 2 divided by 3. As you divide, you keep getting this remainder of 2. And when you bring down the 0, you keep having to divide into 20. Okay, so these 6's go on forever. So again, the way you would write that is 0.6. Can't keep writing 6's forever, so you put that repeating on top. 0.6 repeating.